And we're back. This is Andrew Jensen, your friendly neighborhood realtor. It's good to be back with you guys. It's been a little while since I uploaded a video. And what I wanted to do today is we're just going to continue on the myth busting series. So last time I did the myth busting series, we did all of the sort of buyer myths that come into play when you're a first time home buyer or if you've bought before in the past. But this time we're doing seller myth busting. All right, let's get started. The first myth that we are busting today is a funny one that comes to selling your home, and I don't know why clients think this, but they'll think that it's best to have showings on the weekend. And that's really not the case. In my experience, the weekend crowd is the binge viewers. It's the nosy neighbors, it's the looky-loos, it's the people that have nothing better to do. And of course, there are serious buyers on the weekend, but what I've noticed is that weekday buyers are the most serious buyers. They're the people that have actually taken time out of their week to go and see a home, and they're much more committed to buying a home than the people that just sort of do a big, swath of a neighborhood on the weekend because they're just curious. As far as myth busting is concerned, having listings being showed on the weekend is not necessarily the best time to have showings. I've noticed that weekdays are actually the best. All right, guys, the next myth that we are talking about here is a big one. This is probably the most important one on this list, and that is when you're selling your home, you think to yourself, you know what? I'm gonna list it high and then we'll just bring the price down later, or I'll list it high and then we at least have some negotiation room so I can get my real price. This is a bad thing. It's a hard to swallow pill and it is a myth. You gotta make sure that you are following the market. The market will decide what the value of your home is. So the best realtors are gonna look at all the comparable units that have been selling in the last 6 months or so. They're gonna use that information and what they sold for to help you guys come up with the perfect number. The number that your home is not only going to sell for, but it's gonna get the proper value for your home. That number that the realtor helps you come up with is not necessarily the exact market value. You can always expand that number a little bit, but we gotta make sure that it is within reason, because if you are overpriced, let's say all the other comparables in the market are at $450 and you want to list at $520. Well, guess what? You're just going to get ignored. That's just the way it works. People aren't going to pay more for a home that's comparable to others that are selling for less. Make sure that when you come up with the listing price, make it right. Otherwise, you will literally be babysitting that home for the next 200 days because you're just overpriced. So the price is absolutely critical as far as the timing of selling the home is concerned. So make sure that you're working with your realtor to get that market price just right. You can always expand it a little bit because it's true, there is always negotiation. Buyers love to feel like they got a bit of a deal and they negotiated you down a little bit. But make sure it's market value and maybe a little bit extra, but don't go too far crazy on that one because you'll end up shooting yourself in the foot. So there you go, myth busted. Don't just list high and then come down later. It's not the best way to do it. So this next myth happens when you have multiple offers on the table. So the myth is you've got all these offers on the table, you're gonna get exactly what you want for the cost of your home. So that is a myth because nobody likes to be played around with. You need to leverage having multiple offers the right way. If you are discrediting people's best offers or the highest that they can go, and you're getting greedy because you just want the absolute most and you think you've got this bidding war going on, what'll happen is people will start pulling offers off the table, okay? So if you leverage it right, you can certainly have a good situation with a multiple offer. But if your home isn't really that unique and there's no major distinguishing feature that really sets it apart from probably all the other homes that are quite similar on the market, then being in a multiple offer situation is kind of a tightrope because you gotta make sure that you are handling all these offers properly. So make sure that if you have multiple offers on the table, don't just expect that you're gonna automatically get everything you want and that there's this big bidding war that's gonna be the very best for you. You gotta make sure that you work with these buyers, potential buyers, properly, and that you actually give them the credit they deserve. So when they tell you that they're giving you their best offer, that kind of thing, make sure that you treat that well. You can make a multiple offer situation really good, but it can also turn on you and you can end up with no offers on the table whatsoever if you don't handle it right. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to selling, is multiple offers on the table does not necessarily mean that you're going to get exactly what you want for your home. You got to make sure you leverage it right. Myth busted. Well, the next myth that we're going to talk a little bit about when it comes to selling your home is the myth that the home inspector that these buyers are bringing in are in some sort of conspiracy that they have to find things wrong with your home. So it's a total myth. That's not the way that it works. Home inspectors are there to just make sure that everything is looking good for their clients, who are the buyers that are going to be moving in. They are going to find things wrong with your home. That's just the way that it works. Home inspectors are probably going to find many things wrong with your home. Every home has it. Every home has 100 things that need to be changed or fixed or whatever. They're usually very minor and actually don't impact the value of the home that much, or if at all. Every so often they do find something that's a little bit more significant, and that's when you have to be prepared to have a renegotiation with the buyer. They may want to renegotiate what they had originally given as an offer for your home, and you just need to be prepared to deal with that. It's just the way that it works. Every home is like that. There's always things wrong. There's no conspiracy that the home inspectors are always on the buyer side. They have to be quite neutral and just see what they see as they go through the whole home. The home inspectors that I've worked with in the past have always been really, really good guys. They have a reputation to maintain, so they're gonna be doing their very best. Myth busted. Home inspectors, there's no conspiracy there. All right, this next myth is probably for you guys that it's your first time selling your home, and especially if you're the kind of type that really likes to get into those, you know, house hunting, selling your home, reality TV shows, that kind of thing. The myth is that it's going to be like that. And it really isn't. It's usually just working with a realtor back and forth. The realtor will help you with the negotiation, listing, all that stuff, getting the right prices, that sort of thing. When it comes to the whole process itself, and when you compare it to what's going on in these other shows, it's very, very different. A lot of the times they'll like have, you know, the couple doing all this DIY on their home, and it's gonna look so nice, and they usually just bring in professionals to do all that work for them. So the couple looks like they're, you know, changing their home and raising the value and all this stuff, but mostly it's just hired professionals that do that. Even the costs that, you know, at the end of the day, they say they bought their home for this much or they sold it for this much. A lot of times those are all hammed up. Usually the buyers will move right in and flip the house if they go in and move into one of these homes on these reality shows. Or even sometimes it's not even a home for sale. Sometimes what'll happen is they will just hire somebody's house to be for sale, and these buyers will move in and it's really nothing. Okay, this next myth is something that I've actually ran into a few times already this year. The myth is that when it comes to selling your home, that having a big open house is going to be the key to making it sell. An open house isn't necessarily a bad tool to use, but we live in a digital world. All the homes are looked at online, all the marketing is online, all the videos and the photos and all that stuff is all online. So having a big open house is not necessarily going to help you sell your home any faster. Actually, according to the National Association of Realtors, only 2% of homes get sold as a direct result of having an open house. So in my experience, open houses typically just draw in the crowd that aren't really looking, but they just see that there's an open house in the neighborhood and they live a couple doors down. Open houses don't really help you sell, and really the numbers speak for themselves. It's all about having good marketing, making sure that your listing is everywhere it can be so you're getting as much exposure as possible online, because that's where homes are sold these days. Okay guys, this next one is really quick, but it's very important, and it comes to when you're picking your realtor. And the myth is that you should just go with a cheap realtor because you're going to save some money on commission. And on paper that looks great, but in reality it actually is a little bit more complicated than that. So you got to just sort of think about it like this. You go to work and the coworker sitting next to you does the exact same job as you but gets paid twice as much. Would you work as hard? Probably not, right? So the same thing goes for realtors as well. So if a realtor knows that he's getting paid half the commission that some of the other realtors are going to be doing for the same home, they may not have the same motivation. They may not even try to market it the same way. Make sure that you don't just sort of think, oh, you know, as long as I'm getting this cheap realtor with less commission, I'm going to be ending up spending less money on selling my house, because it doesn't always work out that way. In fact, a lot of the times having that full service and paying for that full commission is going to end up giving you more for your house. This last myth is, I'm just going to go over it really quickly because it comes up so often, and it's the myth that real estate is all seasonal, right? So you're only going to be able to sell your home in the summer. And that's just not true, right? We've got thousands of listings in the city, and they're always up. And yes, there may be a little bit more in the summer, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's exclusively summer is the only time that you're going to be selling your home. So keep that in mind. It has much more to do with just supply and demand, and it varies, right? City to city, it's going to be a little bit different. So keep that one in mind. Just because it's not summer or spring or whenever doesn't mean you're not going to be able to sell your home. A good realtor can sell it at any time. So myth busted. Real estate is not necessarily as seasonal as you might think. Hey guys, you know what? I love doing these videos and I really appreciate you guys watching. And if you enjoyed this seller myth busting video, leave a like. It goes a long way and it makes me know that, hey, somebody's actually watching this. And if you haven't seen it, you should actually go check out the buyer myth busting video. I'm sure it'll be here or wherever it ends up being. But go check that out as well. Lots of great stuff there. And I'm hoping to do some new videos coming up every week. So stay posted for those. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, later.